So from the first bell to the emotional final scene, this was the night where Stardom didn't just meet expectations, they definitely exceeded them. There's always a risk when you hope for greatness, the risk that reality won't meet the dream. But Grand Queendom 2025 proved that sometimes belief isn't foolish. Stardom didn't just live up to their own sky-high expectations, they showed that chasing greatness is still worth it. From the opening match to the final scene of the post-match main event, there was a pulse that you could feel, and it rarely missed a beat. The first spark of hope came early. Hina defending the Future of Stardom title against Rana Yagami wasn't just a formality. It turned out to be a really good match, earning a well-deserved 3.5 stars. Both showed growth, and for a division built on the future, this was definitely a promising sign. But the energy dipped a little bit up next, but not disastrously. Thekla versus Sayaka Kurara was fine. I would say about 2.25 stars, but it didn't feel vital. It was more of a check mark on the night than a pulse point. And obviously, there's the mixed bag of that post-match segment. The same held true for Yumuka Hata versus Rina. It had glimpses of something stronger, but at just 2.5 stars, it needed more time and urgency to really matter. You could feel the early signs of the show flirting with falling to just good enough territory at this point. The 6-woman tag featuring Miko Satomura, Mika Iwata, and Yuna against Cosmic Angels I thought was a reset point though. Now it wasn't a barn burner, but it was a good enough match that earned a solid 3 stars. At the very least, it re-energized the show and kept the momentum from sliding even further. And then came the match that reignited everything. Mai Sarai and Suzu Suzuki ripped the show wide open with a brutal, frantic, and cathartic no DQ match that landed a well-earned 4.25 stars. It wasn't just great, it was the line in the sand that at this point, was when the real show started. Chiro Hashimoto versus Micah kept that fire burning, while their Sendai Girls World title match felt a little shorter than it could have been. It was still strong, sitting at 3.75 stars. The weight, the urgency, it was all there. Just needed another layer to be truly great. Hanan and Saya Iida defending against Suzuki and Koguma. Now there was something low-key beautiful about this match if you ask me. Teammates battling each other, pride mixing with opportunity. This here was another 3.5 star outing that could have benefited from a few more minutes to really boil over. But the heart in this match was pretty much unmistakable. And then it was time for the heavy hitters. Mayu Iwatani defending the IWGP Women's title against Shuri. Now this was supposed to be great, and guess what? It was. At 4.5 stars, it was every bit the technical, emotional, and nearly perfect structured match that you could hope for. It felt like not just a title match, but like 2 legacies intertwining for one night. Now the challenge after a match like that is keeping the energy alive. And Starlight Kid and Izumi didn't just survive that spot, they exploded it here. Their Wonder of Stardom title match was different and pulling off a 4.25 star match. They proved that the future isn't coming, it's already here. And finally the main event, Saya Kamitani defending the World of Stardom title against Tam Nakano in a career versus career match. And Saya's win I thought was the right call, obviously, but Tom's retirement gave the night its full emotional weight. The match itself delivered at 4.5 stars of hard-hitting fought storytelling, but it was the post-match moment that truly resonated here. The reality that sometimes even endings can feel like victories. This was one of the best post-matches I have ever seen. If you haven't seen this, go ahead and check this out ASAP. Now looking back at the night, it wasn't perfect. A few matches early needed more energy, but when it mattered the most, when the weight of expectations hung heaviest, Stardom didn't fold. They soared. From a technical perspective, this show was easily a 9 out of 10. From an emotional perspective, it might have landed higher. Grand Queendom 2025 wasn't a night where hope didn't just survive, it triumphed. There's always a risk when you hope for greatness. The risk that reality won't meet the dream. But Grand Queendom 2025 proved that sometimes belief isn't foolish. Stardom didn't just live up to their own sky-high expectations. They showed that chasing greatness is still worth it. By the time the final bell rang and the final farewell was said, it wasn't just a good show. This was an early show of the year candidate. If Grand Queendom hit you as hard as it did for me, I'd love to hear which moment stayed with you the most.